These pictures deserve compassion, and they live or die in the eye of the sensitive viewer. That is why they were created. That is what they deserve.
There are 9 paintings in this room, and they're originally part of a commission that Rothko was given to paint a sequence of paintings for the Seagram building. He was invited by architect Philip Johnston, and it was the first time that he ever thought of doing a series. He had a very small studio at that time, so he hired a big space in the Bowery and constructed within it a structure so he could see the paintings in relation to each other as they emerged. And at the end of that period of painting, he produced a very different body of work, particularly the dark colour, the sombreness. And then he just paused for about a year, and at the end of the year, he came to the decision that it was not appropriate for him to let these paintings go into a restaurant in the Seagram building.
So what you've just described there is the scenario of the play we're all doing. The 2 years, 58 and 59 of the commission. And we never come out of that studio, but we're in there for 90 minutes over 2 years.
Oh, you want to paint the goddamn thing? Go ahead. Here. Here's red, and red, and red.
I believe he was a little bit obsessed with this. And I think that's why the conflict of whether to go through with the Seagram Commission or not, that's why it's such a crucial and the central conflict in the play.
There are great stories about why he made that decision, and nobody really knows. But my theory is that he was a studio artist. He loved working in a confined space, and he wanted you to be in the centre of the paintings like he himself as the artist was. But the restaurant in the Seagram building is very airy. It's got lots of natural daylight, it's got doorways, and these paintings were not designed for natural daylight and doorways. And I think he just thought they were not sensitive to sight. Also, a great story is about, he was a really left-wing guy that he didn't want, the posh diners to...
Feeding the whims of the bourgeoisie.
Well done, yeah. Great quote. Rothko was very clear that he was talking about the big themes, or empathising, tragedy, ecstasy, doom. He came out of a tradition where painting was a window onto the world, and what he wanted to do was make the world. So for him, it was incredibly important that his paintings were seen, not in relation to other people's paintings, but created a total environment. So they could do that by scale, or they could, by this stage, the last decade of his working life, it was by controlling the whole environment.
Yeah. He describes that in the play. When Ken first arrives in the studio, he encourages him, he says, let it embrace you, let it wrap its arms around you. And then he says, so that nothing else exists. It's an extraordinary instruction to a viewer. Come and look at my work as if nothing in the world, nothing else. It's kind of amazing.
Is there a burden playing a real person for an actor, do you think?
Only in as much as you've got a responsibility not to misrepresent them, and hopefully make them live in the context of the play. What I discovered playing him was not only a new and hopefully a deeper appreciation of his work and also the work of his fellow artists, but also just the sheer level of physical work that it took to make these paintings. Not just the intellectual rigor and the artistic focus and commitment, but also just the physical labor, which to me kind of makes it so much more profound in a way. What did you do to research for the play?
I taught myself as much as I could about not just abstract expressionism, but 20th century art, which was something I had a limited grasp of. And that actually started coming here and just sat in this room. And my experience of the paintings was entirely informed by the play.
The play somehow does have a dialogue about how to look at a Rothko and how to look at paintings generally.
But in a way, Rothko is looking at us, isn't he, in the paintings. And having read through the play, when I look at these now, I'm feeling much more aware of Rothko and his vision. I love the staging of it. So you two confront the audience, and between the audience and you is a painting. That's right.